Record.
Yeah. All right.
Mom.
I know, it's exactly like
I have a mom too.
that. She does the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, y'all. Not that it matters to y'all too much, but I'm just recording this to our cloud, so it's not gonna be streaming, but usually we don't have too many people that watch the live stream. Usually, our commissioners come in by Zoom, they should be able to do that just fine. So I'm gonna get us going and hopefully we will have some documentation of our meeting. Putting up on the screen our agenda for tonight. More technical difficulties, I tried to print these on the printer downstairs and the printer's out of order, so it seems that, like I
It's
said,
too hot too.
it's summer, things are not working. So we have a short agenda for tonight. We won't do the approval of the meeting minutes, commissioners, because we don't have a quorum. So and if we get more commissioners, maybe we'll come back to it, but we can postpone that for now. That brings us to, so before I just want to do a quick overview. So then the big part of the meeting tonight is a focus team presentation for Age Well, which we'll get to in a moment. We're also gonna have a presentation about the food systems plan, and that's early up on the agenda, so we can get Ilif out of here. But that's pretty much our agenda for today. Why don't I bring us back and we'll do a round of introductions, and then we'll jump into a few mentions in administrative matters, and then we'll go into the food systems update. So let's do a round of introductions and then we'll move on. Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Flynn. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston. I use she, her pronouns, and I coordinate the Live Well Kingston Commission, among other things, but that's my role here tonight. I'll pass to Marcia, and we'll run route.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marcia Seabrook, Project Manager for the Health and Wellness Department for the City of Kingston.
Nanny Verano, a commissioner for Live Well.
Kristen Kessler, my pronouns are she, her, and another project manager in Department of Health and Wellness.
I'm Brendan Walsh. I'm an intern with the Department of Health and Wellness, and I'm also a master's student at Bard over the river.
My name is Noreen. I am also an intern with the Department of Health and Wellness.
I'm Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm a Live Well Commissioner. My pronouns are he, him, male. I like plants.
Nice.
Ilif, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks. My name's Ilif Ronning. I'm part of the Food Systems Foresight team working on the Food Systems Plan for City of Kingston. My pronouns are they, he. I'm excited to be here, so thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. Okay, so thank you, everybody. That routine that we usually do. I'll just mention a few administrative matters. Elias Dr. Leader has stepped down as a commissioner. He is retiring, so we're gonna wish him a happy retirement. I mentioned that the commission is not planning to meet in July and August. We sort of had planned that with our focus team presentations. I'll mention later, or we'll have a short discussion about, I may propose a potential meeting in July to talk about strategic thinking. But no official commission meeting, July and August. Have a great summer, everybody. That brings us to new business and a food systems plan update. Ilif, would you like to take the other way?
I would, thank you. Let me see if I can screen share. Looks like I can. All right. Still rendering, I think. All right, I believe you can see it. Can you see it?
You can see it, yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, yeah, as I said, part of the Food Systems Foresight team working on the food systems plan. Going to try and give a brief overview or refresh on what our task is and our approach, and then share a little bit with you all about the emergent findings coming out of our desktop research and our extensive stakeholder engagement. Talk about the kind of broad directions for recommendations we have, and then would like to leave as much time as possible for questions or comments and feedback from you all, since you won't be meeting again in July and August, as Emily just said, and we're aiming to wrap this up at the end of August, beginning of September. So there will be more times for you as individuals to give feedback and contribute to this, but as the commission, this seemed like the best time to share with you. So I will take us right into it. Our objective is to develop a food systems plan to improve resilience and food security while increasing access to nutritionally dense foods for all residents of the city of Kingston over the next 10 years. So we're taking an explicit systems focus to this work, thinking about resilience of the system, not just in terms of climate, but in terms of other shocks and stressors. We're thinking about food security because we know that's an issue. We're hearing that's an issue in Kingston and the region. And thinking about access to nutritionally dense foods. So connecting the food system with the health system as well. We had a handful of key questions to guide our streams of research. We looked at leading practices that are emerging in other cities and regions. So not just what recommendations or things the city can do, but how other cities and regions are going about food systems planning as opposed to traditional kind of city or urban planning. We've looked broadly at the food systems assets that exist in Kingston, thinking about everything from actors, organizations, to infrastructure, to policy, to programs that are being implemented in Kingston and surrounding Kingston. We've done a lot of deep listening about the challenges people are experiencing in Kingston's food systems, as well as desktop research, some mapping, etc. We've looked at how food systems places are distributed across Kingston and specifically in relation to populations that are experiencing food insecurity or economic difficulties. And then lastly, we're looking at how locally and regionally produced food is flowing through Kingston. And our really simplified process is we've engaged a lot with the community. We've had interviews, focus groups, workshops, surveys. We've been at a handful of community events as well to give folks a chance to contribute, tell us their challenges or the opportunities that they see or solutions that they're curious about. We've also done that desktop research and analysis to pull out trends and insights, visualize what's happening in the systems, both with systems mapping and geographic mapping. And now we're moving into this recommendations phase. So we're creating and framing different recommendations for the city and presenting them to stakeholders in the public. And we're at the kind of front end of that, and then we'll be doing kind of a proper rollout presentation towards the end of August in a town hall style meeting. So to bring you briefly into some of that, the emergent findings that are bubbling up. From the community, we've heard there's lots of assets and solutions in Kingston, which is great to hear. There's curiosity about expanding community gardens and urban agriculture. There's energy around nonprofit grocery stores and food redistribution efforts. There's a lot of interest in strengthening and collaboration and coordination since there are so many actors crowded in the system and lots of energy around it. And we're also hearing curiosity about solutions in economic development and green jobs as we're shifting to think more about climate and how we live and work and interact with food there. In terms of the challenges at the really high level, we're hearing a lot about access and affordability of food. We're also hearing about education and awareness around food and nutrition and diets. Infrastructure and resources were also bubbling up as a challenge. Systemic challenges, so thinking about things that are perennial or ongoing, and also things that have knock-on effects. So how does access to food impact health systems, or how we source food impact climate or environment? And then a lot about engagement, inclusion, equity. Who are our food systems serving right now? Are they serving everyone? It sounds like no is what we're hearing. Some of the select findings from our kind of number crunching exercises are falling in these three buckets. So poverty and health, we're seeing above average levels of poverty and diet-related illnesses. We're also seeing that of the food retailers or food outlets in Kingston, about 50% are selling 10 or more fruits and vegetables, and we're using that as a proxy for nutritious food. We're also seeing that in the 8 census tracts in Kingston, 6 of them are low income and low access zones. Doubling down on food access a little bit more, we know there's one supermarket in the city, or categorized as a supermarket. It's dominated by convenience stores. I believe it's about half convenience stores, half other types of businesses. There are some exceptions there, like Kingston Meat Market is classified as a butcher, but looks on the inside a lot more like a grocery store. We're also seeing below average vehicle ownership rates and hearing that the UCAT is helpful to reach food outlets, but is insufficient. And finally, with SNAP, we're seeing that Kingston has 25% fewer stores that accept SNAP, as opposed to what we would expect to see in a city the size of Kingston. And we're also seeing a bit of a mismatch between rates of poverty and rates of SNAP recipients, which suggests that there's some barriers to access those benefits, whether that be awareness or knowledge, or whether that's the kind of inclusion or exclusion criteria is not apparent at this moment. But there's a suggestion that there's a mismatch or difficulty there. So those are what we're hearing through some of those exercises. We also have looked at some systems mapping. So thinking not just about the city of Kingston as where the borders are, for example, one supermarket, but looking broadly about the relationships between actors outside of the geographic boundaries. So there are more grocery stores just north in the town of Ulster. There's lots of farms that are connected to Kingston that aren't in Kingston that are part of that food system. This, I won't go into detail because it's quite granular, but there's a navigable web version you're welcome to peek at. Through community exercises with that mapping, we heard some leverage points. I won't go into all of them right now since I want to leave some time for reactions, but we're hearing there's energy with farmers and farming, particularly around generational transition. Emergency food organizations have lots of energy, but are stuck putting the Band-Aid on persistent hunger and food insecurity. Institutions, composting, appropriate food waste disposal, and community fridges really seem like bright spots people are excited about. And restaurants and corner stores are kind of a mixed bag. They could improve food access, but we have to be really intentional about how they're showing up in the system. And then to speak to our really high level emergent recommendations, we're thinking about building on success. There's a lot going on in Kingston. There's a lot going on around Kingston. How might we elevate Kingston's place-based food and agriculture identity? That might look like celebrating farm to consumer sales, or especially farm to institutional consumers. Also might look like amping up food education and tying to other actors in the area like Cornell Cooperative Extension, the Culinary Institute, and youth like the YMCA Farm Project. Because there's a lot going on, connecting and convening is going to be really important, especially because we're in a system. So how might we amplify interconnection, connecting food tourism with other tourism, or having kind of intentional events to gather or convene actors like a farmers formal or something else. And finally, because food systems are complex, dynamic, and adaptive, they're going to keep changing. So there's not going to be one future goal. This is the food system we want, and it will be that, and it's static. It's going to continue to evolve as we experience climate shocks or economic shocks. So how might Kingston develop a dedicated listening practice to keep the plan alive and keep it evolving with the system? For example, that might look like a quarterly breakfast, lunch, and dinner session where we're leveraging one of those great community kitchens. Someone from the city is there to listen and hear what people in the city are experiencing and think about how to support from the perspective of the city. You might crowd in other actors like nonprofits or others working in the space who are also there to listen and think about how they might respond to that. So I know that was a lot to throw at you all at once at a pretty high level, but I'm really curious to hear from you. Are there any findings that really do or really don't resonate with your experience in Kingston's food systems? Are there key parts of the story that we're missing and should be intentional about including? And on the recommendation side, are there things that really aren't resonating at this high level stage? So I'll stop yammering for a second and turn it over to you all in the room.
Very clear the questions, the feedback that they're looking for. We'll start with findings that do or do not resonate with your experiences. Can anybody think of a grocery type store that wasn't mentioned, for example? Or maybe the other feedback that we just got, does it ring true? Your experiences?
I saw that SNAP wasn't being as wasn't as available, and I tried to get SNAP earlier this year. It was very difficult. I think they make it difficult. Education. Probably. Good to see that.
Thanks for sharing that, Anthony. Yeah.
That was the, when that came up, I got stumped with that one too, that, you said that there was, something inconsistent. Could you, please go over that part again about what the inconsistency was for the level of poverty and then the number of people in SNAP? And was that, did you, is that based on, what did you call, desktop, like research?
Yeah, I have a map for you that might help explain a little better. So this is City of Kingston, and these are the census tracts, so how the US Census collects data. They bound it geographically. It doesn't quite map to specific neighborhoods or how people actually live and move through the city, but it's the data we have.
Okay.
So here in this map, we see of the 8 census tracts, 6 of them have poverty levels which are above the national average. So specifically, can you see my cursor well enough?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so these ones in the center, north and east have above average poverty levels, while these 2 in the southwest do not. So we would expect then to, if there's above average poverty levels in 6, we would expect to see SNAP benefits also be above average in 6. But what we're seeing is there's only above average rates of SNAP recipients in 3 of the census tracts. So this one here on the eastern edge, which includes the Rondout, and then this north central one, and this kind of middle western one. What's curious here is this one here in the northwest and these 2 in the center here don't have above average rates, which suggests that people there aren't able to access SNAP. We're not exactly sure what the reason is. And we had a focus group with people experiencing food insecurity that we're cleaning up the transcript of. So hopefully we'll get some findings from that. But that's the trend we're seeing at the moment. Is that a little bit clearer? Do you have a follow-up question?
I have to think about it some more. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Do you have I kind of on that same point, is there also a map that shows the distribution of stores that provide or that take SNAP benefits? Like, are they also not in that center district?
Yeah, there is a map of that. I did include it in this deck. But yeah, we are seeing some, we had a lot of maps. I didn't want to blast so many at you. But yeah, we are seeing some concentration. We are seeing some areas which lack or have very few stores which accept SNAP. And we're also seeing, I can't remember the exact figure off the top of my head, but not all the stores that accept SNAP have a lot of nutritious foods or fruits and vegetables, and vice versa. Not all the ones that are selling fruits and vegetables accept SNAP. So there's definitely some gaps to be filled there.
Have you seen the food desert map? The entire areas of food desert. Pretty sure because there's only like one. The Hannaford is the only grocery store for a couple miles. Like definitely the 2 miles of Kingston.
Yep. Yeah, we have seen that map, and that's the kind of low income, low access map, which is looking both at physical access to grocery stores as well as economic access. So
I think it looks like a great 10-year plan.
The emerging recommendations that they shared, any questions or any recommendations you think that are missing, anything that felt rang true or didn't ring true? I can start us off. I have a question
Please
there.
do.
You talked about the listening practice as one of the recommendations. I love the idea. Will it include recommendations for how to fund it or the capacity? You mentioned like city staff, and I love that idea, but we need recommendations for how the city staff will have time to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Our intention is to have some more specific recommendations, different ways to go about that. So one of that listening practices might be that there's a staff member who's already going to lots of these commission meetings or community events, and there's a way that they're capturing what they're hearing so that there's some record of it for the next person that comes in the role. And that might be a lighter way to do something or capitalize on something that's already happening. If we wanted kind of dedicated listening sessions that are more of an event and intentionally or like specifically for that, we'll be including some recommendations about what that might look like. And we are building 2 to 3 pitch decks where we'll kind of have more detail on sizing the recommendation. So it might cost around this much. It might be implemented over this timeline, and those could be used in conversation with donors, whether they be private, public, or philanthropic. But we'll have to prioritize which of those recommendations we'll make pitch decks for, and that's something we'll be doing in collaboration with Kristen.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Questions about recommendations? Susanna, I see you've joined us. I know you're jumping right in the middle of it here.
Yeah.
Susanna, we're getting a presentation about the food systems plan. Do you have any questions? I know you sort of missed it. You please jump in.
I will continue to listen and I will jump in when I have a question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Apologize for being late, wasn't my plan.
No worries. Thank you for joining.
I'll also flash this up as people are thinking about any last questions. If as you leave the meeting and this percolates, do feel free to reach out to Kristen or myself or Sarah, whose name is on this slide, if you have other comments or thoughts.
Just pausing to let people.
I have a quick question, actually. The mentioning of the community fridges was very interesting to me. And you said that the community members very much like that kind of solution to bridge the access for food. Do you mind just touching on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2 of our workshops, the systems mapping workshops, community fridges showed up a lot. People felt like there was a lot of energy around that and we're excited about that. What we're going to listen for specifically, I think, is in that focus group with people experiencing food insecurity. Was that also something that they were excited and felt was useful? Because I think when we have those workshops in the middle of the day, they tend towards, public actors and philanthropic actors. So yeah, we were hearing it coming up through those 2 workshops, and I think at one of our community events as well, someone left a note on that. So we're hearing interest in that. I think specifically people were excited about that because it allows people to interact with their food system with a little more individual agency, as opposed to being a recipient of a donation or a hot meal, but they get to go and select and interact. There's also barriers to community fridges that were brought up.
Kind of
Zoning, food safety, child safety, those sorts of things, which we feel could be solvable.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I guess one thing that we've I left out and was curious to hear if it felt missing was about housing and that connection with food. So curious if that feels like a really important part of the story that's missing to you all.
The farm bill isn't passing this year. Are you guys talking with the federal government at all about what they think next year's gift? I don't know what happens if they don't pass it this year.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat?
The farm bill that gets renewed every 5 years, I believe, like, we need one, and it didn't happen this year, so it probably won't. But that would like make a huge difference what you're doing for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Okay, so I heard the questions about the farm bill and whether we're thinking about that as well. And yeah, that's showing up in our kind of broad view of the policies that are currently and will be impacting the city of Kingston. So we have a big long inventory and we've done a little heat mapping or frequency mapping about what kind of parts of the system we're seeing that different policies affect, whether that's food access and security or environment, or more towards the health. I'm not touching that research as closely, so can't speak to it in great detail right now.
Thank you.
Oh, where can we get the information that you just showed us?
Like the presentation?
Is that Engage Kingston?
No, it's not, I mean, I would probably say it's not totally ready to be shared like publicly and widely. So Isla joined our Eat Well meeting last week, joining Live Well today, and then someone is joining Grow Well afterwards, recognizing that these groups are like important key stakeholders to receive feedback from. So not quite ready to be shared around yet. This is like a sneak.
Yeah, this is the sneak peek. You guys get the exclusive pre-premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the first look. And there will be a town hall, as we said, later towards the end of August, where we'll be sharing everything in much more detail. So really encourage you to come to that and share. All the details will be on Engage Kingston. We'll also be publishing the plan and further updates on that site.
Great.
And you can always talk to Kristen to get the inside scoop as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know where we're at.
Well,
Thank you. All right, yeah, it feels like no other questions or comments at this time. I'm just looking around at everybody to make sure nobody's putting me down. Otherwise, we'll say thank you very much, Isla. We appreciate the presentation, and I think we know who to reach out to with further feedback if it comes up for us.
excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate all of your time and being put on the agenda. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out.
Wonderful.
Thanks so
Well,
much. Nice to see you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us tonight again. All right, so I'm gonna bring us back to the agenda. No, and I see someone else is joining us on Zoom. I'll welcome them in just a moment. All right, let's see here. So we had our food systems plan update. Anthony, you added a focus teams thing to the agenda. What would you like to bring up?
If I send you this slide instead of getting on the Zoom, to share my screen, can I send you
Yeah,
this?
are you
Go through it.
emailing
Small.
it to me or how are you sending it?
Yeah.
Okay. Might take a moment for it to move through the internet.
If you want to do
No, I mean, none of you.
there's no way it's gonna take me, because I'm open in the agenda.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Maybe I'll ask Isla.
So it hasn't come through yet. Okay. Do you want us to come back to the end, or do you want us to?
Did you say that there was someone to welcome and then?
I don't see them anymore.
Oh, you're gonna type it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can welcome
I
her.
would call it something comes through.
Looks like,
How many is for?
oh, Anthony, I keep through, okay. Hey Heidi, thanks for joining us. Sorry to put you on the spot immediately as soon as you join us. Would you like to introduce yourself? And Susanna,
Sure.
you didn't introduce yourself. to
Sure,
me, so-
yeah, sorry. I was at City Hall, but all the doors were locked, so I couldn't get in, so I went back to the office. Yeah, I think I was a little late getting out of my office and I think they closed like at maybe 4:30 or something. So anyway, my name is Heidi Kirschner and I'm with the YMCA and it's nice to see you all there. We're getting ready for summer, I guess, pretty quickly here.
Susanna, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Susanna Callahan with the Institute for Family Health, Commissioner for a few years now. I can't tell quite who's in the room. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm the one in the sunshine. This is Emily talking
Okay,
about.
I see your hand.
You got Marcia, Kristen, Brendan, and Noreen are the interns for the Health and Wellness Department. They're joining us today. And then,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Heidi, my apologies. The receptionist isn't downstairs. Usually she checks in with us about locking the door. That was a goof on our part.
No worries. I jaunted over, it's jaunted back. I don't live too far away, so.
Anthony, I've gotten your slideshow here. I'm bringing it up. Would you like me to, tell me when you want to advance the slides?
Okay. So I want to talk about Learn Well.
Okay.
Learn Well is actually in our rules. Go to the next slide. This link will take you to where we have that written down, but that's right here. It is old, it's from like 2018, I think. You can go to the next one. So this is more of what this focus team would work on. Because it's a lot easier to, there's not really a whole lot we can do with students because that's all very complicated with the district. But there's a lot of the entire community of the Kingston City School District is the teachers, the administrators, like all the people employed with the district and the parents. There are limitations to like what the parents or the administration or pretty much anyone working for the district can do. Things like being with a child out of school hours needs to have all the vaccines that like a child is required to have at school. There's a lot. So one of the things that parents can do is babysit for each other at the buildings. Childcare has been an issue across the district, but one of the PTOs does watch each other's kids. It's because of how PTOs work. You can go to the next slide. There's a lot. The next one. Okay. So a PTO is a nonprofit. They need president, vice president, they need an executive board function. And that's who raises the money to send the kids across the state, other states. Some of them go on very fun trips. Usually they try and do at least one a year. It's buses are getting expensive, but most people don't realize that that's one of the things that's not like in the budget. They have to put on events all throughout the year to make these things happen. And some PTOs are, well, because it's made up of the parents who go to the school, it's always changing. Some of them land on periods of time where they have just enough to make an executive board to take money from all the parents, the kids who go to that school, which, the middle schools have a lot, the high school, all of them. So a meeting for them to support each other, is what I would, ask this commission to support. Pretty much so the community can do its function. Go to the next slide. Childcare. So at least one of the groups that I'm a part of that meets is, it's called the Autism Parents Group. It's for parents who have, autistic children in the district. They have, their IEP plan, and when you get their individualized education plan, it's put on there. They have counseling with other parents who have children on the spectrum. And there's supposed to be a ratio of 5 to 1, 5 parents who show up for the one counselor. And there's definitely that, there's plenty of, parents who could come, but they never meet that state mandate for 5 to 1. So it's just one of the things that, the PTOs together could watch those children during the out, because they need to pay the social worker who, is going to be that one counselor for the 5 parents who go to these meetings. There is the public session of the Board of Education. There's all the committee meetings that's not held during, it's held during a time of the day that the administrators can do their work, but, working parents cannot attend. And that's because they, don't have a lot of it's childcare. Education across, just the other day I was at a meeting of, a district-wide meeting of other PTOs, and I got the opportunity to talk with, parents from Chambers, Crosby, and the ones that go into Miller Middle School. Because in the Kingston School District, there's schools as far as, Early, I think is where Meyer is. It's just a big area. Next slide. Sorry. Carry the infrastructure. Something that only the parents kind of can provide. Go to the next one. Community. Some of the PTOs don't meet like we're doing. Like they take months off. Usually in the holidays, snow day and Brexit, or you can't make one. It's not. It's an opportunity that parents. There's definitely a lot of parents who want to get involved, but there's not always as much going on with their school. Next next one. Oh, and this is pulled from basically the very first rule in the policy manual. This is what the rest of the manual is trying to accomplish. I'm like, because a lot of this is something that I don't know yet. I haven't taken the office of a board of trustee member, but I would imagine it's not something I could directly steer, but it's definitely something that we could invite everyone, the entire community, anyone who pays the $5 to a PTO can be a part of the charity and a nonprofit and do all the work that federally tax exempt 501c3 can do. Except for the one special caveat that they get the permission from the principal to use that building. Yeah. And these people are already meeting tonight, actually. There's a group of parents who get together to talk about their role as parents, basically. So the only thing that we really don't have is a Zoom room. I think I don't know how much, I know you only get like a limited amount of time. And the district uses Teams. So I've met with the middle school Bailey PTO on Zoom, and you don't get enough time for it. So that's pretty much the only thing that is not, that I think we would need cost-wise, city of Kingston to support, basically just bring the groups that are already there together. Go next. The district has something like this, and last year, the 2023 to 2024 school year, they met twice. They asked the PTOs to agree upon and send 2 members from each building. And we met once and were never asked to meet again, so there's a reason why that could not take place this year. But they have very specific things in the policy that they need to work on during those meetings. So this would be pretty much everything beyond that. And this is the entire policy manual and some of the relevant policies that I talked about. I guess the links don't really matter.
Yeah, I mean,
They are links.
yeah, I can click into
This
the
is all on
document.
the Kingston City School District website.
Is this the last slide?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask some clarifying questions? Okay, so am I correct that you're proposing a new focus team, Learn Well?
Yeah.
But it's not in action right now, right? Right, so it's in our rules of procedure that we could have a Learn Well, that's what you're saying, yeah. But we don't have one that's active right now, so you're proposing we activate it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the group would bring together different representatives from the different PTOs from the different school districts?
Yeah. Well, meeting of the parents, I guess, is, we definitely would encourage them to pay the $5 or $10, whatever it is for membership of the PTO. Is their membership drives at the beginning of the year are not very.
So you had a link to the rules of procedure, if everyone can hear me. I pulled up the rules of procedure and you're right, Anthony. So in our bylaws, we have Learn Well, and that mission that had been created previously, but our missions for our different focus teams have changed a little bit over the years, so it doesn't have to be this, but I just want to set the stage that Learn Well could be develops, implements, or supports policy, systems, and environment change, supporting students in public and private schools to get sufficient physical activity and have improved access to healthy foods at school. So previously envisioned Learn Well, focused on physical activity and improved access to healthy foods in school. Would you still want that to be a part of it, or would it have a different purpose?
Well, so the mud run that just happened this past Father's Day was a 2-ish mile obstacle course and muddy race. To get all the flyers like into backpacks is something that through policy has to be handled by the principal and the PTO. So sharing information like that, so all the kids in the district know about this run is a part of that, so yes, like the supporting the physical activity. There's probably not, I mean, what the district serves kids is very structured and concrete, and they can do that, so that's probably one of the things that would be more difficult to encourage, because it's like the direct intervention of the children is up to the district, but there's all sorts of evidence that shows that if kids make it to school in elementary school, they're so much more likely to graduate. And who gets elementary students to school? It's their parents. Like it's supporting the parents is one of the most effective ways to affect the wellness of the community.
Anthony, this like presentation is so thoughtful. It looks like something you spent a lot of time thinking about. I feel a little overwhelmed in this moment just because I wasn't expecting it. It seems like it's a lot of important things to unpack. And I'm not sure, like, in the time that we have in this meeting, what you would like this commission to be thinking about, especially with what Emily just read was the intention of the mission of Learn Well. I think that that's like new to all of us because it's not an activated focus team. So where could we park this now and like take to the
What would we
next
need?
conversation?
I don't know.
Can I ask a question? I also, Anthony, thank you very much for that. I was wondering how much of what Anthony is talking about, like looking for in a focus team like this, happens at the school wellness committee. Is that what it's called? Kristen, you would know. The school, is it the school wellness committee that
So
meets to talk?
the district wellness committee, yeah, and then there are school-based, like building-based wellness
Right.
committees.
Okay, yeah. It
Yeah.
seemed, that a lot of the issues around policy and promoting physical activity and healthy food is part of that. But I don't know.
The district invites parents to those things, and they invite the community to those things. I have not been to the wellness, the specific committee that you mentioned. I know, I think.
I just wonder if some of this, again, just something to think about, if that is a, I have no idea if it's a better, not it's a better, but if it would be more effective of working directly within the district on these issues rather than within Live Well Kingston.
No, well, that's one of the biggest things that the district has to do what the district's gonna do. And they do invite parents to be a part of that, and the best way to make sure that all the parents talk to the very few parents who can logistically meet within, you know, I don't even know how many people are on that committee, get information back to the rest of the parents of the district. Because I think I know at least one parent who is also on that committee, but I've never heard her talk about it.
So I think, sort of a little bit to Marcia's point, I think you've presented us with a lot to think about. So, Marcia, also, we have a presentation for about each one that I have allocated about 30 minutes to. So if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I feel like you've given us some stuff to think about. I can add it to the agenda for next time. We can discuss it further if you'd like. It won't be till September.
You can email everyone.
Yeah, I can email it to everybody for consideration.
In the next many months to, you
Yeah.
know.
We could also, I mean, to Susanna's point, Nina is the one who's coordinating the district wellness committee, so, you know, she's a part of Eat Well, so she's a part of like the well sphere. So, and I know that, not that she doesn't have work this summer, do be clear, but with school ending, she will have a little bit more time on her plate, so this might be something to explore, to bring her in, to invite her into this conversation as someone who does a lot of work with the district and with the wellness committees, and she can give her perspective of like, oh yeah, like the district committees, their priorities are here, this way, this, maybe she'll say the building-based wellness committees are a really good place for parents to be supported on each building. I'm saying like,
She doesn't work for the city of Kingston, right?
no, she works for Canal Property Extension, most
So
of
then we have a vacancy.
So Nina just is the EBL chair now.
Yeah.
She
Oh.
actually did just get officially inducted.
So like the commission, right?
She's not a commissioner, she's
Oh.
a,
I know, but like she could fill that seat because
Oh.
she's,
She could,
yeah,
absolutely.
maybe.
the person I tried to drag into it didn't, I guess didn't apply.
So yeah, so I don't know, I wanna just offer that up as an option to invite her into this conversation. Cause she might have a good perspective on it too.
Heidi, do you have questions?
Well, I'm trying to dig back to the years I sat on the PTO when I was in Edson. I do know there was another organization that someone from our PTO sat on. It was to be on a district-wide organization for PTOs. So I do know that there was that going on. I guess I'm just trying to gain a little bit of understanding, and I guess when I see the presentation clarification, you know, of what direction, you know, this particular, what you might be requesting, the direction or the focus of this particular, you know, Learn Well committee, what you would like to see out of that. That would be complementary to supporting the efforts of what the Kingston School District is doing, or to highlight maybe things that they're not even knowing that, you know, are going on, to bring that to their awareness as well. You raised a couple of good points about meeting dates and times and childcare and all that. Those are, you know, good things that, you know, maybe didn't even get contemplated, you know, by the school district. I know they've got a lot on their plate all the time. You know, so you raised some very valid points, which I did like. I'm just confused, like where, you know, if you're requesting a change or a different direction of the commission.
And I don't know how much, so I used to go to some of those district meetings. And there seemed to be, and again, Kristen, I think you attend those, so tell me if I'm wrong, but there seems to be a lot of community agencies and outside agencies that attend those. There used to be fewer parents in a lot of outside agencies. So I don't know what that was the primary purpose, or, you know, I don't know.
The district, I know Marcia needs to present. I'll just share too, one of the challenges Nina has shared, because I hear you, Anthony, with the parents and supporting parents, is that the district meetings have to be during certain hours because that's when teachers are contracted to work. And so so there's like a lot of nuances and challenges there, which is where I think Nina would be a really good person to. She navigates that on a daily basis for her job, is trying to figure out how to engage both parents and staff, all for the betterment of children. She'd be a really good person.
If it's all right with everybody, I'm gonna move us along, if that's all right, Anthony. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions, and we'll continue talking about it. Right. Got that. So that brings us back to our agenda. So, next up, Marcia, my dear, was the Age Well presentation. I've got that here. I can share my screen. That's like. Got you. You'll see that.
Right. Okay.
Marcia, take it away.
All right, I'm gonna move through this presentation pretty quickly. It's 14 slides. Just, I know our meeting is scheduled to end at 5:45. For those of you who are, if your first time, like throughout the year, there are presentations on our active focus teams. I coordinate the Age Well, Grow Well, and Play Well focus team. So I'm gonna update the commission about what's been happening over the year with Age Well. Here we are last year, that was at the Broadway bubble. Okay, next slide. So the mission of Age Well is to create a supportive environment that promotes active aging for seniors, including physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, intellectual, all of the things outlined by the social determinants of health and more. And we do this through ongoing assessment, policy adoption, implementing programs, and we focus on active aging at all levels of functional ability. Next slide. For this presentation, I'm gonna just give a brief update on where we are with our 5 goals on our action plan. If I haven't already, I will put the action plan into the link for the minutes of this meeting. Age Well has decided to keep their action plan goals from 2023, and we've made some adjustments to the actions or strategies of the goals. Next slide. So the first goal is an engaged and active focus team. Next slide. Okay. So we meet 10 times a year. There are no meetings in July and August. We meet the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Yeah, at 2:00. So tomorrow is our last meeting for the summer, and we'll have our fall kickoff at OFA in September. About 50% of our focus team members are local residents who are retired, with another 50% nonprofits, and also Ulster County Office for the Aging, which is a primary partner for our Age Well focus team. We also work with CCE grandparents program called WRAP. We have seniors serving in place. New to our group is the Alzheimer's Association, and also Hospice of the Hudson Valley. Next slide. Oh, are there any questions? Please let me know, flag me down. Okay, goal number 2 was that more seniors have access to the internet. This has been a goal that's been on the action plan for a number of years, and we've had some great successes going back to 2018 with our Cyber Seniors program, which ended during COVID. But the work continues, and our partners at the county have really taken the lead in continuing this work. Next slide. So our actions or strategies for this goal included identifying opportunities to build awareness to, were for identify opportunities to promote broadband and internet access and computer training. So one of the things that our team worked on this year was amplifying the classes that are happening at the Senior Hub, and also promoting what the county is doing in terms of increasing broadband. And by the county, I'm talking about the Ulster County Controller's office. They have a Citizens Commission for Digital Inclusion. And so one of our Age Well members at Office of the Aging regularly attends these meetings, and she is our liaison, letting us know countywide what's happening and then bringing it back to how that affects our city of Kingston. Another thing that we've achieved this year was working more closely with John Dowley, who is an instructor with OFA. Every Thursday, they provide free technology classes for seniors. I featured John in an article for Live Well Kingston, like I interviewed him just to share his story and for him to talk about what, some of the barriers and concerns that our seniors have with technology. And so one of the things he said is that once students feel more comfortable with technology, they want to talk to their grandchildren over social media and get more familiar with how to do web searches. And so in thinking about having something senior friendly that was meant to be a tool for inclusion, I developed an Age Well Kingston community events guide. And I'm going to ask Emily if you can click on that. This is on our Live Well Kingston website. And it also fulfills another goal we had from last year, which was to update our resources page on Live Well Kingston. If you can go to the next page on this. So one of the things about this is that it's super easy to use because we got the gigantic pointing finger. But it's not a finger of judgment. It's a finger of easy clicking. Can you go to the next slide? Let's find something we want to look at. Here, we'll just go through all of them really quickly. So it focuses on event calendars, and I cover the big ones, Kingston Happenings. OFA has a new page, like they updated their page and they've streamlined their calendar of events and their online classes. I like to think that age will influence that because we've been talking about it a lot in our meetings. Next one. The county has all these cool events happening. One more, let me see what else. Keep going. Of course, we love our Ulster County Library, and if you'll just pause there, I want to say Office of the Aging has been exporting their good practice of providing technology classes with the libraries, in that when there is an event at the Senior Hub, which is at their headquarters on Ulster Avenue, they broadcast it to other libraries, in particular the Congregate site that's in Ellenville, where Office of the Aging, through a grant, was able to install computer equipment. So that conference I mentioned this morning, like in our meeting, it was also broadcast live out in Ellenville. So here, let's click on Hudson Valley Parent, gigantic finger there.
So easy to find.
Yeah, so it's just a fun tool that we recommend for seniors who are new to using the internet as a way to find like things to do. If we can go back to the presentation.
This one or the,
Yeah, here, go one more. I want to see to talk about our parks. Keep going, because I want to say this. Hey, did you all know that there's a New York State Golden Park program? If you're a senior, you get all kinds of free hookups with our parks. And also at our golf courses and boat launches. Look at how excited that guy is to find out.
We're so happy.
It's keep going. And Get Set Up, which is sponsored by our state Office of the Aging. Next one. Please click on the Get Set Up. So this is something to this day, I've been trying to get my mom to sign up for, to schedule herself for classes. This is completely free. Get Set Up is, they have online classes on so many subjects. It is free. You can register with an email address or a telephone number. And you can see things that are pre-recorded or go in live. They have instructors all over the world. A Qigong class that I took, the presenter was in like Australia or something. She's like, it's 3:00 in the morning here. I love Get Set Up. Hello to all my people and, you know, like in the, I'm like in the Americas. So it's quite wonderful. I don't think people realize how many resources that there are, and this really aligns nicely with some of our seniors at the outside of the city of Kingston, because our county is so rural that they can get connected with things, you know, like without leaving their home, if that's their preference, or they're not able to. Okay, thank you. We can go back to the presentation.
and that guy you just showed us, that is now on the, did you say this, on the Office for Aging website?
Yes.
It's on the Live Kingston blog post.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's on our resources page and it's on the county's homepage. We're excited to put that there. And thanks for your feedback on that, Eddie.
It's fantastic.
All right. So our third goal is improve access to active transportation, which is walking and biking, and public transportation. So work that our team did was we reached out to UCAT and did a feature story in Office of the Aging's Buzz, which is the magazine that goes out both in paper form and online, to our seniors in the city and beyond about how to use the app, because you can find the bus where it is, where it's going, if it's late, where it drops off, right there on the app. We also had members such as Julie, who was here in this photo, give feedback about their user experience using public transportation for the Ulster County Human Services Transportation Plan, and the work that Emily does in Travel Well with the Complete Streets Advisory Council, and recommendations for sidewalk financing. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Another thing that we wanted to share was the pedestrian and safety education that went along with this year's Walk with Ease program out of the Andy Murphy. We have the potential here for systems change to offer indoor walking hours. We would love to see this happen at our city's gym. The Walk with Ease program is a program of the Arthritis Association. I do an abridged version of it, only 6 sessions. That's a combination of education on exercise and walking. We piloted it in 2023, and they wanted to do it again, so we did it this spring, and they're asking to come back again in the fall. So, along with, so this goal number 4 is to increase opportunities to participate in active aging. Next slide. What we worked on this year, we piloted a 12-week Zumba Gold program, and that is in collaboration with Holistic Health Community, Healthcare for the People. They pay for the instructor to come and to the annual fee to do Zumba. We had 32 people sign up for this class, which is pretty remarkable, and we were averaging about 17 people a class for the first couple of weeks, and then in May, as it got warmer, classes have been dwindling, but we've had 24 unique seniors come at least once. So it's been appreciated by those who come. Next slide. What did I want to say here? Oh, so what I wanted to note here in terms of active aging, something that's notable in doing this Midtown Mondays walking group for the second time this year, there was only one returning participant. The other participants were new. We had a 30% increase in people in class size from last year. And what this data is telling us is that it's something that the community appreciates, that they want to do more of. And I would say we've had a more diverse group. We had, I think in my first class, there were not any people of color. We've had, 4 women of color in our walking group this year. And we've seen women with more levels of disability. So we've had several walkers come with canes and with canes and walkers. And again, going back to the goal of active transportation, an indoor walking space during the cold months would really be wonderful. It's something that's needed. Office of the Aging does do a walking group at our mall, which is also lovely. I walk there when it's too hot, too cold, but it's in the town of Ulster. It's in the COK, or City of Kingston, as I like to call it. The final goal is to increase access to healthy food, and the actions here were to support OFA's farmers market coupons, which OFA does in July. They distribute all of them, and I'm not sure what we can do to support them.
In years past, I tabled with Sue. That's how I supported it in the past.
Thank you for that
So we
history.
can.
This is a goal where I'd like us to reevaluate, what we might do with it. Last year, the commission thought that maybe we could do some work with Eat Well, for this goal. We have not done that yet, but I am hopeful that the food systems plan for the city might offer some insight on things that we might do with Age Well. But I would also say that this has not been a priority of the voice in our Age Well focus team. So more to be explored. And then to wrap up some upcoming things for Age Well. This fall, we are working with New York Statewide Senior Action Council Hudson Valley chapter to plan a community connections forum. It'll be at the Rosendale Center. We are putting out our save the dates. It's community connections. It's going to be addressing loneliness. I've been doing some admin support for the planning committee, and they've also asked me to moderate one of the panels, which is going to be on Age Well activity. So I'll be bringing in some of the participants from that. We are also currently in Age Well. Last month, I led a presentation on, age-friendly business, looking at 3 cities the AARP recommended are doing a great job. And so our, age world team decided, let's get some data about, is this something, an initiative that we want to pursue for 2025? So I'm gonna be spending, I've already started, doing surveys, and, I'll just be gathering data at different events and for the rest of the year. And when we look to do our action planning in November, we'll see if we want to make it an official action. One of the things that's notable is that Age World said that they would like to look at not just age-friendly, but that if businesses are accommodating people at every level of ability and looking at accessibility for the person who is least able to participate. Also, there is some grant that Office of the Aging recently received, I believe it's from NYSOFA, to look at possibly duplicating a future version of Cyber Seniors. And finally, Office of the Aging is piloting a 1-day respite adult care at the hub. And so we're looking at how we might expand that program at places of worship. And for those of you who don't know, adult daycare or respite, it would be for families who, caregivers who are caring for someone in their home and they need a break. So maybe they bring them to a program during the day. It's not a nursing model, it's a recreation model. So they can go, have, do whatever they want and have their, I think about my mom, like since my father had his stroke, she is his primary caregiver. And so we're always thinking about who can help at home so that mom can go out and do things. I have another brother at home with autism, so we're always thinking about relief of care. Next slide.
And Ulster is doing that once a week, right, right now?
At the hub. Yeah. So that's really exciting.
6 hours, I think it's 6 hours. It's 6-hour time period.
I think that it may be less than that. And right now it's open to seniors who are known to them because they're just piloting it. The hope is that we can expand it during the day into places of worship or otherwise have a space that's not being used.
And in the Ulster group, the people who are servicing it are volunteers.
Yes.
So that they needed to recruit and train and.
Correct.
Snap.
Jewish Family Services are handling the volunteers, are one of our partners. And so we just want to say thank you. And this is our Zumba instructor who had her 85th birthday on Friday.
Awesome.
Love the birthday tiara.
Okay. We have 10 minutes left. Are there any questions? Any questions that you all had about Age Well?
It's just a really comprehensive report, really. Tie it all together.
Marcia, you've done a great job in developing that particular committee. It's great. Really nice to see the activity.
Thanks, Heidi. There is something I want to mention about the census for Age Well. We are at 20. I have 22 people as a part of the Age Well team, but most of those folks don't come to the meetings, and I designate them as Age Well advisors. And we think about our focus team work that we want people to contribute at a level. As far as coming to meetings, and we have people who want to be involved and they say, I'll do anything except come to a meeting. I just wanted to just say that that's really working well for Age Well. Like the woman Julie who was in the scooter, she's one of my advisors. I don't know that she's ever been to a meeting, but there are people I make the time for to get their feedback, and they guide things, like if we want to, thanks, Kristen, if we want to pilot something, or I show the marketing material, like to them, whether it's a survey or something that we want to do, and they give feedback. So I'm keeping voices alive, but folks are not always able to come to a meeting Tuesdays, the third Tuesday of the month at 2 p.m. And so, I just think that we are in a position where we just, want to be flexible to let people contribute in a way that feels good to them. And that's good enough. It's good enough.
Thank you for that. Try to I've heard that before, but thank you for the reminder, and I'm gonna bring it to some of the other teams. So for example, Travel Well does not have a standing meeting, we met once this year. So thank you for that, and for that template. Think about that a little bit more.
Is safety on social media and I guess the internet generally, is that part of
Yes.
the education?
Great, that's a great question. So every Thursday of the month, with the exception of July, because we're taking July off, you know how we do around here. Office of the Aging, they, every Thursday except for, July, they cover topics, and one of them is, around, safety and fraud, because seniors are, more than any other group, maybe even more than children, are targeted. They are the victims of fraud. I mean, it is something that the statewide Senior Action Council, in their advocacy, they talk a lot about Medicaid fraud and other kinds of fraud. And one of the things that we are going to address in our forum in September is we are providing education that's going to be scripts, what you can say when you answer the phone, like to vet who's on the other line, like not to give out your information. My dad got a call that his grandson had been arrested and that he needed $5,000 to get him out of jail. But my father, being the conservative that he is, my dad said, well, if he did something wrong, let him stay there. My dad's not playing games, like he's not gonna hustle out of his money, He was like, he did what? I mean, he didn't believe it, but people get calls,
Somebody's been
So-
kidnapped, family,
Yes.
grandson's been kidnapped, and
Kidnapped, so-
police, and,
Everyone tells their child to be safe on the internet, and not
Yes.
enough people tell their parents to be safe out there.
Seniors,
That's good to
I
see.
think with seniors, if it's quick and dirty, they'll fall for it. If they have too much time to think about it, they'll understand it, but if you get a text that says your bank has been, and click here to verify it's you or not you, and it's already happened.
Yeah.
So if they see their bank has been compromised, boom, they'll go right to it.
Yes, the bank one is the big one.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know your son's boyfriend's or girlfriend's voice, it's pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
So we have just a few minutes left. I have one more thing to cover. Any questions about A12, Marshall?
Just really, really kudos, Marcia.
Yeah.
It was
Well, it's really,
She has the corral of her team.
it's really great.
We heard cats for a lot of the work we do.
This is a big,
Marcia, so
Oh, man,
you heard very well.
they're awesome, they're like,
that's true, but there are so many personalities.
there's so many personalities. If you join us tomorrow, there'll be ice cream and fruit.
Oh, well, and coffee. I was gonna be there anyway.
Yeah, and air conditioning.
Yes, there's that.
All right, thank you, Marcia, as always. Lovely presentation. I just have one more thing to cover, and then we can all go out into the heat if that's where we're going. On old business is still the draft action plan. We'll come back to that. We're still rethinking that. Quick recap, one of the commissioners, Kyle Muther, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, my apologies, Kyle, is initiating a bit of a strategic reflection for Live Well Kingston. And since we've already been decided to not meet in July and August, our thought was maybe in July, if anyone is interested in joining a conversation about that, then maybe we hold a meeting on that topic instead. The thought might be, he's gonna come up with a few prompts that we will send out to anyone who's interested to reflect on before we meet as a group. And then I think as a group, we might try to do some collective visioning about our strategic goals for Live Well. A question, I don't know what it'll be, but a question might be, who are we serving for Live Well? And I think if we ask each person in this room, we might have a different answer. So there might be some philosophical questions like that. Not all the commissioners are here tonight, so what I'm gonna propose is that I'll send out a bit of a recap of the meeting with links to Anthony's presentation, to some of our other presentations and resources, and I'll ask the whole email group who would like to participate, and if they'd like to participate in a doodle poll to set a time to meet. If anyone else has a different suggestion for me, I'm open to that, but that's what I'm gonna propose at this time. Any questions about that strategic planning project? We don't have all the details yet. We're gonna make it up a little bit as we go, but I can try to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. Well, you're all making it easy for me. Okay, that's great. So, we always have announcements and communications on the agenda. Does anyone have any announcements or communications? This could be job opening announcements, this could be events that are coming up, anything. Usually Heidi's got some kind of program. What about camps? You wanna put a plug in for anything that's coming
Yeah, we
up?
got all our camps going. I think Starfish is closed. Wiltmeet and Seawalk are still open.
Starfish is closed? I'm sorry, can you explain that? What does that mean?
Yeah, it means you can put your name on a waiting list, but all of our slots are filled. So unless somebody cancels out, we don't have openings in that particular camp. We do have an end of summer sports program that's going on. We have a summer rowing program that's going on the week of July 15th, or it's July 8th through the 18th. That's going down at the Maritime Museum. And a summer sports program. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We have our farm annual fundraiser tomorrow evening. It's been changed to the Fuller Building. I think tickets still are available. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on right yet. Not that I can think of, so.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Building, I'm glad you told me.
Maybe wandering around.
Yeah, we'll have AC.
I know, but what about the barbecue?
I think they're still doing stuff inside. It's just everything will be inside instead of outside. I think it's a concern for the health of people who aren't used to really hot temperatures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Seniors.
Any other announcements to, Anthony, anything from the school district world or any of your other committees? Anything from your schools or from work you're doing? Anything you want to announce?
Not at the moment, I'm working on getting that kitchen set up, so if anyone has any ideas for like classes or events that they wanna hold in the Andy Murphy kitchen, I would love to be a part of helping create that or assisting, I'm a culinary student, so if you have someone that would like to teach a cooking class and they need an assistant, I will do it as long as it works with my schedule, so I'm open to all those conversations, so.
I'll just say quickly, if anyone does not compost but would like to, Kingston is doing this Kingston Organics program where they're collecting food scraps. Right now, you can go to one of 11 locations, most of which are like around Midtown. There's some uptown, there's some downtown. Drop off your food scrap, it's free. Ask me.
And they get compost after that, right?
They get compost
They
after
get
that.
access to the compost, right?
Well, right now, no.
There's not enough. Yeah.
Well, it goes to the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, which is off of 199, and you can buy the finished compost back from them. If you want, it's $20 a ton, which is actually a really good deal
That
for
is
compost.
really good.
Yeah, right, like a ton.
That's a
Like
lot,
literal ton,
yeah.
2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You can also get smaller bags for like
Good.
$5, because I can't
So
bring a ton of
are these
compost.
compost drops any time of the day, or is it like dedicated to
Anytime.
people? Oh,
They
is
don't have-
it?
Yeah, they're just little bins.
It's got a-
right up
You get a
front
little
of
padlock.
Yeah, there's kind of a code, you just, yeah.
Bingo, yeah. Nice,
I'm right
okay,
back park.
okay, sweet. Do you use it? Would you like to?
Oh, you know, I'm just by myself.
Oh, then good.
Seriously, my scraps go to the wild animals to stay out of my garden.
Cool,
I'll give you the carrot tops if you stay out of my garden.
perfect. Then that's the best use for it.
Yes, it
Even better.
is.
You
That's
can-
what you call a peacekeeping treaty.
It's me and the groundhog, we're trying to get along, it's our second summer together.
Oh.
You're over here, this is over here, not for you.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing.
That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to a close. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you officially in September as Live Well. I'll see you all in other ways before then. All right, thank you, Heidi. Thanks for joining us. Sorry the door was
Hi,
locked.
Heidi.
Oh, see ya.
Oh, no, 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 Suzanne.
Yeah, Suzanne.